Hi, I'm Chuck Morendi, and welcome to the recording studio of Squim in Port Angeles Real Estate. I want to talk to you a little bit today about contingencies when you buy a home in Squim or Port Angeles. Now, one of the addendums that I usually attach to a purchase and sale agreement for my clients is a contingency which allows them to hire a home inspector who will come in and inspect the home all the way from the crawl space to the roof and everything in between. Now, there are some very important things that could end up on this home inspector's report that you'll want to address before you close. Now, maybe a home inspection is going to come out just absolutely clean and there will be nothing that you have to be concerned about. That would be fantastic, but that's kind of the exception. Let me tell you about a home that I just sold. We just went through the home inspection, and there were a number of items there that, well, the home has been empty for a couple of years, and there's some things that just aren't working. Kitchen faucet isn't working. Okay, that's a minor thing. Throw that out. Don't worry too much about that. There are a couple of little plumbing leaks under the sinks. Not a big deal. Those things can be fixed. They're not expensive. But something that the home inspector picked up that is important, although still relatively minor to repair, is a water leak under the refrigerator in the crawl space. Now, that's where the refrigerator, the ice machine is connected to water, and underneath the refrigerator in the crawl space it's leaking. Not a big deal. However, you don't want standing water in your crawl space. That could create some serious moisture problems underneath. It could get into the beams and into the subflooring, could cause mold and mildew and other problems. So that's something that's good to know about. The other thing is that the drain for the furnace going outside was actually leaking back into the crawl space, creating just a real small puddle. Again, not a big deal, but if those things continue to spread water in a crawl space, it could be a problem. Those are things that, as a buyer, you're not typically going to crawl in a crawl space all underneath there with a flashlight looking for problems. But that's what the home inspector does, and that's what he gets paid for. Now, another thing that is of concern sometimes is the well, or the gallons per minute. You might want a flow test on a well if it's a private well. You might also want a water quality test for bacteria and nitrates. On this house that I'm talking about that I just sold, we had a well test done by a couple of experts. And believe it or not, while we're standing there at first, the pump actually failed to work at all. And we were standing at the wellhead, and the pump wasn't pumping water. It took several minutes to get it going. Now, one might say, well, gee, with a house that's been empty for a while, maybe that's going to happen. But according to these experts, when that kind of thing happens, it usually indicates that the well is beginning to fail and will fail at some point in the not-too-distant future. In this particular case, the well had a lifespan of about 7 years, according to the experts, and we were long past that 7 years. So, again, what my buyer clients are wanting to do in a situation like this is to ask the seller to give them a credit for at least part of the pump replacement. A pump replacement and the labor associated with that could cost about $3,000 plus or minus. That, along with some other repairs that were needed in the house, there were some things that weren't working. There were some heaters in the walls that are apparently unplugged, things that the home inspector finds. What we will do then is prepare a notice, which is a response to the inspection report, and we give that to the seller, and we ask the seller to either repair these items to the buyer's satisfaction or give the buyer a credit in the alternative of X dollars. And that's a pretty good way to do it. When I do that, I usually attach to that notice a copy of the home inspection report. We want the seller to know that this is based on solid findings, on factual evidence, not just our opinion. We're not just trying to Jew the seller down on the price. I also like to include estimates for work that needs to be done, so they have an idea of how my clients came up with an amount that they're asking for at closing as a credit. There are a lot of things to think about when you're buying a house. These contingencies, these little inspections are very important, and as they say, the devil is in the details. So Pay attention to how that works. Hopefully you've got a buyer's agent right here who really knows the kinds of issues that come up in this area, and you'll be ahead and prepared to close without any serious problems shortly thereafter. Chuck Mirundi, you'll find me on the internet at squimrealestatenews.com. Get a hold of me, email me if I can help you if you have any questions at all about buying in Sequim or Port Angeles.